Louisiana All American Sports Show. 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 Louisiana. If the sports you wanna talk about, then listen to the hottest show that's coming out the South. It's Eric Hatfield and Coach Perry Daniels, man. They're gonna sit you down and tell you all about the game and make it plain. 96.9 FM, that's the station. To hear the best sports talk show in the nation. Without hesitation, you should get with this and get your popcorn ready for you better not miss. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana All American Sports Show. Louisiana.
Ooh, I'm just so fresh, so clean. Good morning, Baton Rouge. It's a fantastic cloud-covered, rainy, damp Saturday morning, but it's still a great day to be a sports fan here on the Louisiana All American Sports Show on 96.9 FM WHYR Baton Rouge Community Radio, and we're locked in for the 45th edition, the year 2015, of the Louisiana All American Sports Show. Good morning. This is Eric Hatfield.
And I'm Gerard Piper, a.k.a. Joker P.
And I'm Coach Perry Daniels.
And I'm Jason Holliday.
Jason Holliday, the quarterback of the Brusly Panthers, who were on the Louisiana All American Sports Game of the Week last night here on WHYR. It's a great day to be a sports fan, and look, the Brusly Panthers had a good slugfest with their district rival. The Saints play the Tennessee Titans tomorrow, but I would be ignoring the elephant in the room. Get it? The elephant in the room. If we didn't talk about another big game later on in the show, so that's a big hint. Unless you're hiding under a rock, hopefully you know what I'm talking about. So it's a great day for sports on Saturday morning. Joker, how's it going today?
Oh, man, it's going great. It's a little bit, rainy and everything. It's sort of like last weekend, but I'm feeling great, man. It's a great day of football. This week is almost like a Super Bowl week. Mm-hmm. We'll get to that big game between Alabama and LSU. So, hey, it's a great day for football, and I'm excited, pumped up, charged. Let's go. And
joining us from our nation's capital is Coach Perry Daniels, the father of the Louisiana All American Sports Show. Coach?
Hey, it is rainy here as well, but we are excited about SEC football tonight between the LSU Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide.
It's like, if you're a football fan, it's like Christmas and New Year's or whatever your holiday of choice, your big holiday of choices, all rolled into one. Well, we have, of course, we can't make it happen without the players on the field, and of course it all starts off at the high school ranks, and last night the Brusly Panthers faced off in their regular season finale against their District 6 3A rival, Baker Buffaloes. We brought you a little Baker Buffaloes football of late. We brought them to you last week as they faced Port Allen in what was a one-sided affair. They came to Brusly. Brusly, of course, coming off of what was almost a stunning upset at University High. They were coming in, getting ready for the playoffs, and faced Baker, but their opponents didn't roll over. But it was a team effort. But one person stood out to us last night, and that was quarterback Jason Holliday. Jason, first of all, thank you for joining us this morning. I know it's not easy to come all the way across the river on a Saturday when you're tired. You probably have practice, either had practice or will have practice. So, thanks for coming in this morning. Look, tell us in your own words about your game last night. You were you were put when they needed to play, you made it happen in a low-scoring game. That's sometimes the difference between winning and losing.
I just wanted to, when my team needed me with big plays to be made, I just wanted to step up and be there and make the play.
Talk about some of the folks that really stood out in helping you make the plays last night. I mean, from my observations on some of those plays, particularly on third down, there was some pretty handy holes, pretty big holes in the offensive line for you to shoot through.
Yeah, first you have on my offensive line. Then my receivers for blocking on the edge. Mm-hmm. Helped me pick up the first down.
Now, you are a junior, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
You'll be back next year. I saw you a couple of weeks ago. You seem to be getting more comfortable by the week delivering the first of all, is this your first year as a starter at quarterback?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you seem to be getting into a comfort zone throwing the football. Do you think that's going to pick up more next year, especially when you'll have another year with Coach Brown in the offense? Or?
Yeah, I think it'll pick up next year.
Joker, you made some observations on young Mr. Holliday last night, some astute ones actually that even had evaded me. want to just kind of turn the podium over to you.
Definitely. I know that with the injury of Xavier Bell, of course, I said at the beginning of the game, I thought he was the type that wears a defense down. And so with him having Tyler Nash, they usually have that thunder and lightning kind of combination. So actually what I thought was Coach Brown made Holliday become Bell, actually. And he started to keep the ball. At first he was trying to pass the ball, but then he started to keep the ball, and that's when he started getting a little bit of yardage, started getting a few first downs. Then they switch it back up with Nash, and they brought in, what was number 5?
Godfrey,
number 28 or number 26.
That kid made who was number 28? Made the touchdown, 18 yards. Avery Grant, thank you.
Exactly. They bring in Avery Grant. So that kind of changed the pace, and it threw the Buffaloes off, and that's when they started to get their legs up under them. So I thought it was a fantastic job. I thought you was at first, you was holding the ball a little bit too long. I said every time he holds the ball too long and don't get rid of it, he's getting a sack. But once he started, the first big play he had, we got it right out, and they did the slant pattern, and he got the ball out within a second. And every time he got the ball out quick, they would advance. They would get a first down. He would have the quarterback keeper. So what do you think about the game plan? I mean, you had a lot of carries last night. Is that usual, or did Coach kind of put more on your shoulders to be able to,
Well, it's pretty usual. He just want me to do what I can do and just help try to get the win.
Do you know how many yards? I didn't get a chance to look at the box scores. Do you know how many yards rushing that you finished with last night by any chance?
No, sir.
All right, it must not have been published because I know high school athletes always know what their numbers are the next day if it's in the paper. Coach, what you got for this young man?
Yeah, so last night in the post-game interview, Coach Brown spoke about how much they rely on Mr. Holliday there. If you could just speak to that, Holliday, your role in the offense and what Coach Brown expects of you from that quarterback position.
He expects me to be a leader because a lot of my teammates look up to me. And when it's crunch time and we need a big play, he just know I'm going to be there to be able to step up and make the play.
Right, which you did a great job of doing that last night to get the Brusly Panthers a W. Great job.
Thank you.
Talk to me about going into last night's game. Where was your ranking, and who do you expect to play next week in the playoffs?
I think it was somewhere between like 21 to 26. We supposed to play play Kaplan, something like that.
And,
okay.
And Coach, just to catch you, I don't know if you caught the top of the broadcast that was not on WHR, but only on Louisiana All American Sports.com before 7 p.m. But Coach Brown before the game, and you can tell the students the players are reflective of their coach, because he said, look, I'm not looking at playoff rankings. I'm not studying playoff rankings. What we got to do, what we got to do. And, I mentioned just a few seconds ago, high school kids often know those numbers to a T. But Coach Brown's philosophy, he was saying before the game is, we got to take care of first things first. And you can kind of tell. I mean, usually those kids will say, we're ranked 23rd, and if we win this, we'll be. So that's kind of probably why, it's reflective of the coach that he doesn't have the exact number on his fingertips. You know what I mean, Coach?
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. Really, this is what they call the third season coming up. You have the pre-district season, you have the district season, and now you have the playoff season. And during that, you just play the next team that comes up. So, Mr. Holliday, play as solid of a game as you played last night. Know that the Brusly Panthers depend on not only your legs, but your mind and your arm to win football games for them, and you all are going to be just fine.
Yes, indeed. I want to ask you a couple of questions. How long have you played the quarterback position? Have you been playing since like Pop Warner or since you was young?
Yeah, I was playing since I was young, but I played my freshman year, then I stopped my sophomore year. I was just focusing on basketball.
From what I got some inside information last night, and they said that they said he was about 5'10" or 5'11" last year. Now you're about 6'3", 6'4".
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
you've grown that many inches within a year. Wow.
Some of the parents and faculty alumni, we were sitting at the table with them at the gumbo cook-off last night. They're pretty excited about what you can bring to the hardwood, man. So you got some you're getting the ball all year long. It seems like from August all the way through March. So you got a lot of expectations on your shoulder. What's that like being? I'm guessing you're 16.
Yes, sir.
What's it like being 16 and kind of having I mean, this is an old reference before you were born, but all eyes on you like Tupac.
It just feels good. And just going out and just showing people what you can do.
Yeah, and the hard work pays off. When you stay in the gym and you do what you're supposed to do, and when it pays off on the field, you see the results. That's the satisfaction of all the hard work, man. I want you to continue to keep doing what you're doing. Stay focused. Do you have a preference of what you like better, basketball or football?
I don't know. I like both of them.
You like both of them? Well, wow, okay. Well, y'all have a new basketball coach there at
It's Coach Kirby. What's his last name? Loop. Kirby, have you had a chance? What's he like? Have you had a chance to meet with him much yet?
Yes, sir. Played with him in the summer. He's a good coach.
Did you play with Coach Boudreaux last year?
Yes, sir.
I know you're just getting the tip of the iceberg with Coach Loop, but while we're talking Brusly, and I know we're kind of getting ahead in seasons here, but let's talk a little bit, some contrast between. Do you see what are some of the differences you notice between coaches Loop and Boudreaux?
With Coach Loop, he more offense, and like he run through offense. With Coach Boudreaux is more like if you know somebody that can't guard you, just isolation, just take them.
Right. Taking advantage of a team's weakness.
And go ahead.
Good observation, man. That's a good observation. What players do you in football right now? Do you have a player that you model your game behind, or does a player that look at Xavier Bell over there shaking his head? Yeah. So who is it?
Cam Newton.
Cam. And he's got the number one. Coach, I mean, you can't see, obviously, on the radio, but Jason wears number one. He's kind of tall, especially for a high school kid like Cam. You got to, bulk up a little bit if you look like Cam. That's a big quarterback, but that's a good one to model your game after. The only thing I don't like about Cam, actually there are two things I don't like about Cam Newton. He went to Auburn and he plays for the Panthers, but other than that, I'm actually a huge, Coach, you remember how I was with Johnny Manziel a couple of years ago? I was reluctantly that way with Cam Newton, and after a while I was like, screw it, I like the kid. So, hey, that's a good one, man. So, one other question for you, Jason, before we talk about the other scores in high school. We talked to Xavier and Tyler last week about Coach Brown in his first year. Tell us, just in your own words, what it's like playing with Coach Brown, what he's brought. Just tell us what you think about him.
I really like Coach Brown. He's a good coach. He's just not just a coach. He's like a father figure. You can talk to him about anything. And I thank him for helping me see how good I could really be. And he's a really good coach.
I've only had 3 encounters with him. He was on the show in preseason and 2 weeks ago, and then last night. But I like everything. I'm becoming a big Mark Brown fan by the week. Joker, I think, has queued up some of the scores from last night. We had some games on Friday. Some games last night. We had a lot of games on Thursday night, as we expected. A bad showing from Mother Nature. She held off yesterday. But Joker, I'm gonna turn the floor over to you to catch the folks up on what happened the last 2 days.
Yeah, we did have some scores Thursday night, also Friday night. The Thursday night scores here in the Baton Rouge area, McKinley actually lost.
To Catholic.
Yeah, to Catholic.
They dropped I don't want to call it a close one, but let me say that I didn't think that the game between McKinley and Catholic would be particularly competitive. And McKinley, I mean, again, all I saw was the box score and the score, but it looked like they kept some pace with Catholic. So perhaps that team with a new offensive scheme is improving. Oh, boy, you can see Joker's face. He's like, I ain't buying it.
Right, I don't buy that one there, but we'll get on that one there later. St. Amant defeats Dutchtown 41-14. Zachary wins 29-18 over Walker. Live Oaks wins in the squeaker 24-21 over Central. Lakeshore wins 35-14. Plaquemine wins real big over Bel Air 53-18. And we follow Bel Air and hope those guys will bounce back.
I still think Bel Air. I mean, what you're not seeing is the improvement. You can see where they are, but you don't see where they've been. I think Coach Coleman's done a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing them next year.
Madison Prep wins 45-7 over Christian Life. East Feliciana wins 20-12 over Northeast. And let's see, we had a lot of games here.
These scores are being brought to us in part by the power of the World Wide Web, and right now it's a little choppy. So, Jokers.
Those are pretty much the games that we had last night.
And
that was it.
Well,
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
So we had some games. A couple of other scores I did take note of. Southern Lab did fall to Kentwood 14-7. I did not have a chance to measure the updated district scores, but that's going to throw that district, I believe that's 6-1A, into a little bit of a frenzy there. Well, with Kentwood pulling it off, I didn't really see that one coming. That game was pushed back to Thursday night. And I think, have we covered all the friends of the show? We got Port Allen did fall at the Shrine on Airline to Parkview Baptist. The final was, if memory serves, I believe it was 55-36, which tells me, look, Coach Nick Mitchell was able to go into a hostile environment and run up a lot of points, but Parkview was able to pour it on, and defense is something that Port Allen is kind of, when they faced a tough opponent, they've had some trouble with, but I have nothing but the most confidence in that coaching staff with Coach Mitchell and defensive coordinator Eric Holden and that team. I have big expectations for them in the future. I think we got to everybody. Coach, did I forget anybody?
Not I can keep it on right offhand, fellas.
All right.
I think Capital won.
Yes.
6-0 towards the
Mentorship Academy. Coach Johnny Duncan got a win there.
Yeah.
And so I'm glad for him.
Oh wow, you definitely want to mention that.
Absolutely, because he's definitely had to put that together from the ground up, from scratch. And you can look at the box scores and look at the finals and say, oh, that's just not a very good team. But you got to understand what Coach Duncan had to work with. He at least has a viable team that can go out and compete in some games, and that's going to continue to improve. I have a lot of confidence in Coach Duncan. So Coach, I'm sorry, Coach. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt there.
No, I just wanted to ask Jason, has Coach Brown ever brought in his state championship ring and let you guys take a look at it?
No, sir, but he talks about it.
Coach Mark Brown had a lot of success at Livonia and pulled some state rings, and that's a small community that has a lot of brass on their hands.
That's basically saying when you win one, then you can see it.
Yep, and you can show them how to do it. Joker, what you got, man?
Well, this week, our song of the week is going to be a country group called Dead Press, Learning, Growing, Changing. Check it out.
We could grow. We could develop. As we know that heaven is not a place, and happiness lives in the heart. If something ain't working, don't be afraid to change.
Keep on growing. I like that.
But I was feeling that one.
Yes,
I was feeling that one from start to finish, man. That was real talk.
Keep on
right
growing,
there.
man.
Listen to the words.
Exactly. And that's what we need today. I don't know if people know about the incident that we had here, where the officers shot the 6-year-old kid in Marshville. Have you heard about that?
It's making national. I saw it in the paper here, and I actually saw them talking about it on CNN yesterday.
Yeah, they arrested the two cops, and they charged them with second-degree murder.
And I think that's what it was, too. Unlike a lot of things where you have these police situations that spiral out of control, I think there's something, we don't know all the facts, but it looks like there's something sinister. I mean, like beyond a traffic ticket or just a cop losing his head. I think this is a murder.
Yeah, I think absolutely.
A bona fide murder.
Well, we'll see when the facts come in. And, the only thing that I've seen is they've acted swiftly.
Yes.
And
which I'm kind of pleasantly surprised.
Well, I'm not surprised.
But you know what, in Louisiana, though, I've noticed that's even the Hurricane Katrina shootings. I know we're getting way off subject, but they didn't waste much time tightening up those cops, in that stuff. I'm not saying Louisiana is a bastion of historic racial harmony, but I will say that when these kinds of egregious incidents come out, knock on wood, we seem to get it more right than wrong, at least of late. At least I'm kind of holding my breath and trying to have a little bit of pride as a Louisianian with that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, we'll see how things go,
So
I digress.
No, absolutely. Look, that's plain. We're serving the community, and that is relevant, very important community news. And I just wish for the best outcome of that very tragic situation. So we have some football going on as the Southern University Jaguars. When cats get when felines, ferocious felines of prey, jaguars, lions, pumas, etc. When they get into a fight and they survive, they still got cut up a little bit and they got to lick their wounds. And our Southern University Jaguars are by all means licking their wounds as they go today to face another SWAC rival. There's the human jukebox as they face Arkansas-Pine Bluff at Arkansas. Two things, I guess, before we recap They're last week. That's all I can say.
Right, just last week.
Arkansas-Pine Bluff, I would be remiss if I did not even lead off the Southern segment with saying I saw something that just warmed my heart. The Arkansas-Pine Bluff visitors locker room, where Southern University will be, the whole locker room, it was on Twitter and on ESPN.com. It was covered in these footballs with these $1 pledges to the Devin Gales front. I mean, every inch of the locker room. Imagine you walk in here, there's no sound cushion, there's no windows, it's just footballs with pledges. The entire locker room was covered in $1 pledges at Arkansas-Pine Bluff. I think that is just the epitome of a class act. And you know what? Every time I click on to gojagsports.com to kind of get ready for the Southern segment, you know, I see that pop up and I say, I'm going to donate. I'm going to donate and I haven't donated yet. So I'm putting some heat under my backside this morning. I'm pledging right here on Louisiana All American Sports $10. I'm not a rich man. I'm a civil servant, but I'm pledging $10 to the Devin Gales Fund this morning. I got to make sure I get that done. So y'all check me until I get it done, because I don't want to let that one slip.
Hey, where you $10 at?
Hey, it's coming.
Oh, okay.
It's not in the mail. It's gonna be on. It's gonna be online. The minute I get out of this show and get back on GoJag Sports. The next time I go to GoJag Sports.
I got you, Eric. And as a matter of fact, since Eric is so generous, I'm going to pledge that Eric is going to actually pay $20. We're gonna be on him, Perry, and we're gonna make sure.
Oh man.
No, but I do have the top 10 college HBCU top 10 college black football teams of this week. Number 1 is North Carolina AT&T. They was actually the number 1 team last week. Number 2, Grambling State, still coming in at number 2 with a record of 6-2. Alcorn State, they got 2 first place votes last week. They're 6-2, tied with Grambling, but they're coming in at number 3. Bethune-Cookman, 7-2. They're coming in at number 4. They was number 4 last week. South Carolina State is 5-3. They're the number 5 team. Prairie View, A&M. What did I say, Prairie View?
You said Prairie? No. That's high school. That's Dutchtown.
Yeah, that's Dutchtown. Prairie View, A&M, 5-2. They're the number 6 team. The number 7 seed is North Carolina Central at 5-3. Tennessee State is number 8. Southern dropped down from number 7 to number 9 this week, and Alabama State rounds it out at number 10.
So I think Alcorn's 2 first-place votes are well-earned, and obviously Grambling being undefeated in SWAC play there. You want to talk about a 180-degree turnaround in just 2 years.
Wow.
You know, it's incredible, and that's going to add some significance to the big game during Thanksgiving weekend between Southern and Grambling, the Bayou Classic. But look, last week, Alcorn earned their 2 first-place votes, and it was at the expense of the Southern Jaguars. That game was GoJag Sports had listed as being televised on Cox Sports, but they had the McNeese State game instead. Not sure what that was about, but I did listen on KQXL. And by the way, the Arkansas-Pine Bluff game will be at 2:30 on 106.5 KQXL for those of you in Baton Rouge. But listening to the game, I couldn't see the body language. I couldn't see what happened, but it seemed like in the second half, I just got the vibe that the Southern University Jaguars had completely quit. John Gibbs Jr., the starting quarterback, the fine starting quarterback, the double threat for Alcorn, was injured in the first half of the game. I cannot remember the fellow who came off of the bench, but he just ran all over the Jags, and by the third quarter, it just felt like they had quit. The coup de grace, I was in my car listening to the game, got out to go to a strip mall, walked around, turned out the store was closed. Southern had possession when I got out of the car after Alcorn had scored a touchdown. I got back into my car and sat down, and Alcorn was kicking off after having scored another touchdown. I'm a little concerned with a loss like that maybe you have some Southern players dialing out or not, their mind might not be where it has to be after taking a loss like that. It just seemed like they kind of quit in that second half, even though Alcorn's a fantastic team.
No, I don't think you'll see that. I think Coach Odoms has done a fantastic job of keeping this team focused. I think they were just overmatched by the Alcorn State Braves, and we've seen that for the past 3 or 4 years with Alcorn State. They seem to just have
their number.
Well, basically through the Odoms era, Coach Odoms has never beaten Alcorn State, and I think that we're in for a heck of a SWAC championship as Alcorn and Grambling seem to be on an inevitable march to a rematch there, in which You know, the regular season game came down to a blocked extra point in overtime at Grambling. So they are two very evenly matched teams, which is why you see them ranked 2 and 3 in the nation. And Grambling has that slight edge because of the blocked extra point.
And it's a game of inches, absolutely. You know, you're right. A minute ago I mentioned that maybe Southern might lose focus, but I keep forgetting that their coach is Coach Dawson Odoms. And if I've learned anything about Coach Odoms in all the time we've covered him,
Playing with my money is like playing with my emotion.
so I don't think that Coach Odoms, man, did it again. Coach Odoms is going to let his team lose focus. And honestly, Arkansas-Pine Bluff is just what the doctor ordered, because as dominant as Alcorn State is, and they could have potentially let the wind out of the Southern University Jaguars' sails. Well, you want to talk about wind out of the sails? APB clobbered by Prairie View 54-29 last week. Before that, Jackson State 37-3. Alabama State, who's struggling their own, 31-24. Alcorn hung up 61 on them. This is a team that has lost 6 consecutive games, all in conference play. They are 1-7 on the year. If Southern ever needed a boost of confidence to get themselves back on the horse, this was the week. And I'll just tell you right now, for the I Told You So segment, I am picking, not only am I picking Southern University, I'm picking Southern University by double digits in this game.
I'm going with Southern University in this game. I think, Coach Odoms, hey, his principality is in this. You know what I mean?
It's a principality, Willie Quinn. It's principality, Austin Howard. Mike Jones.
I'm all the way with this one as well.
Yeah, I think so, and I'm definitely hoping for them. I'll be listening as best to my ability. I think they're gonna. I'm feeling good. Oh, what am I forgetting? We got guests in here. Look, there's a Louisiana All American Sports tradition where we take our projections of games on a show, and then next week we throw it in our faces collectively, especially if we're wrong or if we're right. We pat each other on the back. It's I Told You So segment. You're gonna be on that next week, young fella. So who are you picking, Southern or Arkansas-Pine Bluff?
Southern.
Yeah, that's a safe choice.
Yeah, good.
Even if I thought they won, I'm not going to pick against Southern and go back to school and have my friends be like, "What's wrong with you, selling out?" So we got another game involving another team on the road in Baton Rouge. And
it's going to get real now.
So what if I'm crazy? The best people are. That is the Mad Hatter by Melanie Martinez. Coach Perry Daniels dug that one up.
Yeah,
I was blown away because Coach picks some of the music. It's usually like some old school hip hop or some conscious stuff. He went to the pop, the rap rock pop, and I got to say that was pretty tight. Good selection there, Coach. Hey, the craziest people are sometimes the best, and let me tell you, the Mad Hatter has gotten, I think, more than his fair share over the years against Coach Saban, but it's been a couple of years. It's been since 2011 since he's ripped one, and he's had Coach Saban rip his heart out in 2012 with the screen pass play.
Yeah.
Clobbered him in 2013, but then last year with the game going to overtime at Tiger Stadium, that the LSU really gave away. There's just they breathed life back into a dead patient.
2012, I thought they gave that one away.
Yeah, no, so exactly. That was the screen pass play.
Yeah.
So look, they're going to Tuscaloosa. This is not. I'm not going to call this the game of the century like the one in 2011, which I really think it was when you consider the stakes. But I do think this is the regular season game of the year. As I mentioned last week, CBS Sports takes just one game every year from the SEC and puts it in prime time, and once again it is the LSU-Alabama game, and there's a very good cause for it. You have LSU undefeated, number 2, going into Tuscaloosa. You have Alabama with one loss to Ole Miss, but Alabama is right there. They were ranked 4, is that right? Or where were they? They were number 4 in the college football playoff rankings. This game is going to be significant because I think the winner, first of all, is sitting in the driver's seat in the SEC West, and the loser, especially if LSU loses to Alabama, is going to have a lot of splaining to do to make their case to the pollsters. So this game is as big as it gets. That grown man, number 7, I'm sure is ready to rock and roll. Alabama's got the whole herd of elephants. This is what college football, what big league college football is all about. It does not get any better than this, and I don't think that's hyperbole.
Man, wow. The Super Bowl of college football today. Alabama, going into Alabama. This is to me, this is one of the most important games of Les Miles' career. And the reason why I say that is because you have you can't say that you don't have the talent.
You got that right.
You can't say that you don't have the talent. This is a game that to me, you should win. You should win this game. But, they got Alabama favored by 7 points, which was kind of crazy to me. I don't remember in the past the spreads. But in the past, I would agree that Alabama came in as the favorite most of the time. You know what I mean? But now, this year, I think this is the year where LSU, to me, has more talent and is a better team coming into the game, or at least as evenly matched.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And home field is. Right. Sorry about that.
Other years, I thought we had to play extra hard with a little hope to beat Alabama. But this year, I actually think we have the same talent, or if not more, better, and we should win this game.
Yeah, it's a home field. I would give probably Bama about 3 points. If I were the Vegas person, and I'm not, which is why I'm not there, I'd probably have Bama by 2, maybe 3, but 7 I thought was a bit generous. I'd put my money on, if I were a gambler, I'd put my money on LSU with that spread.
What do you think, Coach?
Well, man, that's a fair assessment of what you just made. No, actually, when you look at this, I try to do like the old Jimmy the Greek from NFL Today, and you go the Russian game, check.
I remember that.
The passing game,
right?
LSU. Here's what it's going to come down to, though. It's going to come down to whether or not the Alabama quarterback,
that's Mr. Coker,
can execute deep pass routes against the LSU secondary. If Alabama can throw the ball and get some of those play-action passes complete, they're going to be victorious in this game. If not, then you're going to see LSU just control the clock and the ground game and dominate this football game. So it's really going to come down to whether or not the quarterback of Alabama can execute the deep pass and the offensive coordinator can call.
Well, what about, don't you think that would be on both sides? Like, since both have running attacks, like if LSU quarterback can do the same thing, if he can go downfield with play action off Fournette, you know what I mean? Because both of the quarterbacks seem to be in the same type position where the running back's pretty much dominating the offense, Henry and Fournette.
See, and that's
I agree with what you're saying, but does that apply also to LSU, that their quarterback can?
So, here's the difference, though. You have an offensive coordinator at LSU that isn't quite as imaginative as the offensive coordinator for Alabama.
Oh, Lane Kiffin.
Kiffin's going to take more risks than Cam Campbell.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
And because of that, I think you're going to see bigger opportunities from the Alabama quarterback. Although I think the LSU quarterback has a better deep ball.
Exactly.
He throws the ball better deep than the Alabama quarterback.
Took the words right out of my mouth, Coach. I mean, I think Jake. That is the difference. Jake, I am just not sold on Jake Coker. I'm not trying to bash the kid, but every week we talk about him. How is this dude the quarterback? I mean, Blake Sims last year was not your typical Alabama quarterback, but he got the job done. He didn't make those mistakes. He managed the game well. I don't even see that out of Coker. I don't think he has a particularly strong arm. I don't think he reads the defense as well. And I think he's prone to mental breakdowns. And yet here he is in one of the biggest games of the year. And I think that's the difference you mentioned. Yeah, if Coker can get the ball down the field and LSU's secondary sometimes they're prone to mental gaffes. They're prone to blown assignments. I just never seen people with so much talent make so many mental errors.
What is his name? Jake?
Jake Coker, yeah.
Jake, right?
Jake.
Oh, Jake not going to make it.
Jake from State Farm.
Jake. No, not Jake. Jake is, Jake reminded me, Jake, I get surgical with this thing. You remember?
That's from,
that's training day.
Yeah, oh,
Jake.
Lord.
Yeah, Jake can't make it, man. Now, if he was a Tom, or he had the dimple in his chin, or, he was Cam. But Jake, no, Jake is not going to make it.
No, Jake.
I would have named like Jake.
Eric, but Coker is the quarterback, and Alabama is in the position that they are in because of Kiffin, because of Saban, because have
The
put
system.
them in positions to win.
That's true. It's the system.
Let me
so
counter
you're saying
with
it's
that.
the system, not more or less the player, right?
Absolutely.
And you're correct about that. Let me just counter with that. LSU got off to a 13-0 start with Jordan Jefferson at quarterback. So I mean, you can definitely build up a quarterback that lacks some of the mechanics. But when the chips are down, like in a game like this, if Brandon, that's where the difference is. To your point, Coach, if Brandon Harris is set loose, not a whole lot, just a little bit, makes his throws, and that young man can hit a little tiny bullseye from 50 feet away. You know, if they turn him free and he does not make the mistakes, I think that can be the difference in the game. But you're right. It's as much as these two teams like to run and play in the trenches, it's going to be which quarterback performs better ultimately. It's a quarterback-driven game, and there's no getting around that.
Yeah, so are you picking or are you chicken?
Oh, no, I'm not chicken. I'm actually, I think LSU's going to win the football game. I think it's going to be a slugfest. I think it's going to be physical.
What's the score?
Let's say, I wouldn't be surprised if it either went to overtime or was decided on the final play of the game. So I'm going to say 16-13.
16-13. I got LSU 27-24.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm going to say that I've fallen prey to the deception offered by Joker once before, Coach Saban, and I will never, ever doubt you again. And I believe in the process, and I believe that the Alabama Crimson Tide are the best team in the SEC. And Coach Saban, you are the best to ever don the sideline, and you're going to find a way to win once again.
Hey, man, I can't be mad at you because, I can't be mad at Perry about that one.
I mean,
he said that because he went against Saban, and he hasn't went against him since. I have to go against. I have to on this one. I've been building up to this. This has been my prediction since the beginning of the year. So of course I can't change it now. So, but man, number 3 total defense against the run against Leonard Fournette. That is going to be one good game, man. I'm so looking forward to it.
I expect another classic. Jason, you got the microphone, man.
Sat here and heard us ramble.
I know.
We just dissected.
You can share your thoughts too. You don't just have to throw out a score. If you have a thought about the game, you were part of the show today, pal.
Yeah, what you think?
I got LSU 17-14.
Oh, all right.
And why is that?
Alabama has a great defense. LSU has a great defense. It's just whoever make the big plays gonna win.
I could not agree with that assessment more. So we got 27-24. I got 16-13, 17-14. Coach, go ahead and throw a score out there. I know it's not your cup of tea, but throw one out there for fun.
24-17.
24-17. Interesting. So we got I think we all agree it's going to be a competitive game.
The spread.
Yep. Or at least a draw on the spread. Yeah. Look, there's a lot of great college football action today, though, because down there in the Atlantic Coastal Conference, once again, we have a team wearing a whole lot of orange, making a whole lot of noise, and in Death Valley at 2:30 p.m. on ABC.
Big game.
Huge game in the Atlantic Coastal Conference in that Atlantic Division as the Clemson Tigers host the Florida State Seminoles. The Clemson Tigers are ranked number 1 in the country. This is not the first time they've had high expectations. The Florida State Seminoles do have a loss in their record. They're ranked number 16. But, you have Heisman, I'm going to say a Heisman dark horse in Deshaun Watson for Clemson, who has been a dynamic player this year. And you have Everett Golston, who's kind of been really an underachiever throughout his career, but he's going to get the ball again for Florida State.
Cook.
And of course you have what's his first name?
Is it Devin or Deshaun?
Deshaun Cook, I think it is. But you have Shaq Wilson on Clemson's defense, who was just a monster at defensive end to kind of combat Cook and combat the mobile passing game of Golston. This is going to be a fantastic football game. And I said on the broadcast last night at the Brusly Baker game that I have taken a drink of the orange Kool-Aid in many years past when Clemson has deceived me into thinking they had something special, and every year Clemson has gone Clemson. And by going Clemson, I mean they lose a game, a critical game, to an opponent they should not lose to. They should not lose to Florida State, even though this team is well coached and has good personnel. But I think Clemson has too many weapons, but they're Clemson, and I'm picking the Seminoles in this game.
Wow, you're picking the Seminoles. Wow. Well, Orange Crush used to be the drink when I was young. Now it's Faygo. So I go with Faygo. But as the game, this is a real big game. I'm picking Florida State in this game. It was my upset pick of the week. I think Clemson, I'm not. if they beat Florida State, they'll really show me something, really prove to me that they're what everybody's saying that they are. Actually, Florida State has a chance to beat Clemson, also beat Florida, run the table, and they actually could be in the top 4 because they could be the ACC champion. But that's a whole nother argument. But for the game, I'm going with Florida State with my upset pick.
Coach?
Clemson.
So you're going with Clemson. Could you elaborate on that? I'm sorry, because I know you're usually one that how should I put this? When you don't like to get snookered in the drink.
And all that, and he just came out just like, look.
Coach doesn't like to get snookered into drinking the Kool-Aid, and I just think it's Clemson Kool-Aid right now. I'm just curious to your thoughts on that. Obviously, they're favored, and that makes sense. But I'm just curious to your thoughts on that contest.
Well, I don't believe that Florida State is as good as advertised.
Right.
And I do think that this Clemson team has enough this year to get over the hump, so to speak. As long as they don't go down there and beat themselves,
Exactly.
I think they'll be just fine.
Right.
Nail on the head. Jason Holliday.
I got Clemson.
He's got Clemson. He's drinking the Kool-Aid. All right, I'm gonna get some orange Kool-Aid in here and bring it up next week if they win.
Yeah.
But look. There's a reason that they're number one. There's a reason they're favored. But boy, like Coach Perry Daniels hit the nail on the head. Clemson has a habit of beating themselves, and this game is ripe for it. We will see. It's going to be one heck of a contest. So let's see. We have. We don't have any more college games, do we, guys?
No, that's it. Let's get to the big boys.
Well, so I'll tell you. Well, before we do that, we got to, of course, assess our prognosticating abilities in our usual weekly segment. I told you so, and also we got coming up in about 13 minutes. We have Noel Jackson with Music Satisfaction here on 96.9 FM WHYR LP Baton Rouge Community Radio. Let's see how we fared last week with our crystal balls.
My boy Noel.
I told you. What did I tell you? Didn't I tell you? 'Cause I told you. And when did I tell you? A long time ago. And what did I say will happen when I told you? Exactly what just happened.
Southern hosting Alcorn State, and folks, this is a do or die game for both these teams because we have a diverse attack. I think the Jaguars have enough defense. They don't have the greatest defense, but I think they have the personnel to key in on Gibbs, and I think they have the diversity of their attack between Howard throwing the ball, Leonard Tillery, Willie Quinn, both on offense and special teams, and I'm still waiting to see Mike Jones break out. Mike Jones break out. But I think that's going to feed into the hands of the Jaguars.
I favor Southern. I think Southern is hungrier right now. They're coming off a disappointing loss, everything. So I'm going to give, even though I'm going to get an edge to Southern, I'm going with Southern.
Because this Alcorn State team are the defending national black college champions. But
sounds like you're picking.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say that the Alcorn State Braves are, I think, just a bit too much for our beloved Jaguars.
They have a New York Giants team coming to the Mercedes-Benz Superdome, and that's a Jekyll and Hyde team. Speaking of Halloween, you don't know which Giants team is going to show up. I think with it being in the Superdome, the Saints, having a little bit of momentum. I actually picked the Saints to win this game at the start of the year, and I think, particularly because they're at home, and I don't get it what the Giants are doing from week to week. I'm actually going to stick with they had a Cowboys team that was a wounded animal, but I'm going to stick with the Saints. I actually expect the Saints to win on Sunday.
Yeah!
I'm going to go with the Giants here, too.
You never know with the New York Giants, so I'm thinking the Saints on the right track, so that means I'm going to pick against them. So I'm going with the Giants.
You were wrong. You were wrong.
Noel Jackson with Music Satisfaction.
Cincinnati travels to Heinz Field to play the Pittsburgh Steelers. I'm going to give a conditional one. If Ben Roethlisberger starts, I think the Steelers win.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Bengals on this one, too.
I'm going with Cincinnati Bengals. People think they're not serious. I think they're one of the best teams in the NFL this year, and so I'm going with the Bengals. Andy Dalton is starting to turn the corner.
Green Bay Packers are going to the Mile High City to play at Sports Authority Field in Mile High. So, Professor, if you're listening, I got your back, and I got the Packers on Sunday night.
I'm with Green Bay on this, too.
Man, I hate to go with the professor on this one. I'm gonna have to go with Green Bay. No. Peyton Manning just, it's almost over with for him.
No. Rumors of Peyton Manning's death are greatly exaggerated.
Oh man, he put on a show. His timing was good.
Yeah.
He put it out.
I
thought about that, going against Pepe. I'm like Perry. I'm not going to go against you again, Pepe. PayPal.
I'll tell you, man, Peyton Manning and also Drew Brees, these are two guys, you've heard those, are they losing and they both put on two of the best performances of the season.
Yeah,
Drew, one of the best in NFL history last week. And if you haven't noticed, we're transitioning our conversation from the young men of college football to the grown men, the men who get paid, the men who make all of our Sundays joyful in our America's gridiron sport, America's new pastime of the 21st century, the National Football League. And coming up this Sunday, the New Orleans Saints winners of 3 of the last 4 games, including a marathon game with a walk-off field goal by new Saints kicker Kai Forbath, and Drew Brees with an NFL record-tying 7 touchdown passes, hanging up 51 points in the Giants, which they're kind of accustomed to doing. Well, they got just what the doctor ordered with the Tennessee Titans coming to town as Coach Ken Wisenhunt was fired last week. Tennessee is in complete disarray. They don't know heads or tails for their quarterback situation. Their running back, Bishop Sankey, just as sank, and they're in a bad way. This could not be a better opportunity for the Saints to get above 500 for the first time this year in the Mercedes-Benz Superdome. Look, I had the Saints make fools of me before when they're primed for winning, but I just can't see them blowing this game. I think the Saints win and win big against the Tennessee Titans tomorrow afternoon.
Here we go again. You know what I mean? I'm going to pick the Saints just because the Tennessee fired their coach and just because of the disarray that the team is in. Other than that, I would have picked the Tennessee Titans. But I'm going to pick the Saints just because of that.
Yeah, I hear you, Joker. Marcus Mariota could win tomorrow. Don't be surprised if that takes place. But the coaching situation may be a little too much for Tennessee to overcome. I have to give the slight edge to the Saints.
Jason?
Saints.
And just to catch up, the interim head coach is former Pittsburgh Steelers tight end and longtime NFL assistant Mike Mularkey. Good guy. I just don't think it's going to be enough there tomorrow. Another big game. I got to say, the Green Bay Packers I surprised everybody. I mean, Peyton manhandled them last week. The Broncos manhandled them last week.
And I went with T on that. And I knew I should have went against T.
I think Aaron Rodgers only had double-digit passing yards in that game.
77 yards.
I'm kind of having my mouth hanging open. And meanwhile, Carolina they almost snatched defeat from the jaws of victory, but held on in that Monday night game against the hapless. Who took them to overtime last week? I'm blanking out here. The Carolina, they went to overtime. Indianapolis Colts. Good grief, what is wrong with me today? Andrew Luck and the Colts, who were having hard luck, all of a sudden almost snatched the game in the last minutes, sending into overtime where Carolina finally took the game. Look, Carolina, you know what? When you're winning, things go right for you, and the Panthers are finding ways to win games. Cam Newton is having the best season of his career. They're playing at Bank of America Stadium, and Green Bay, to quote Professor Terrell Johnson, they were exposed, I think, against the Denver Broncos. There was a plan to beat them, and Carolina's not got a lot of weapons on offense besides the QB, but they got a great defense. Regrettably, I like the NFC South rival Carolina Panthers in this game.
You better believe it. Now, you know I'm not going against Cam.
Oh, Cam.
And I went against Pepe last week, and I know that, to me, Aaron Rodgers, he better start winning on the road because he's starting to get like Peyton Manning used to be in Indianapolis where, he's only winning on the road. He puts up all those phenomenal numbers in Green Bay. You know what I mean? And he better start not getting that stigma. He's getting close to being that type of just you play good at home. But that's number one. Number two, I got to go with Cam Newton. Cam Newton right now.
Who you got to go with, Joker?
Cam. Oh, Cam. That was good. But Cam Newton, man, he's on another level. I think he's at his peak right now. He knows how to win. He's taking less and doing more with it. In Carolina, I just like the simplicity of the way they play. Now, they're not all dynamic and all that, but they win, and I like the way they win. And with that style of play, you got a good defense like they got. With those linebackers pursuing the ball, Keekly and Norman. Oh, them guys. Oh, my
Beast.
goodness. They are beasts, man. And on the back end.
Luke Beasley.
And in the secondary. Man, they got some heat over there.
Charles Tillman. You know what? I made a reference when I was texting one of my friends with Peyton Manning's performance and Drew Brees. They better check their perspiration. I'll just water it down for family show. Check their sweat for PEDs. They had to check Charles Tillman too. 13 years in the league. This dude looks like a spring chicken.
He's doing his thing, and so also with Green Bay, I see that without Jordy Nelson, it's starting to show a little bit with Aaron Rodgers. So I'm going to go with Cam Newton to beat the Green Bay Packers. There you go, Professor.
Cam. Coach?
I think Carolina's going to win as well. So.
Mr. Holliday?
The Panthers.
He's going with the Cats. All Carolina Panthers.
You know he's going. That's baby Cam right there, right?
Yeah, of course. What was I thinking?
Yeah.
Shoot. Big game in the NFC between the surprising Minnesota Vikings, who are not 5-2, and the St. Louis Rams, who I used to often call the St. Louis Lambs, are 4-3 and in second place in the NFC West. The Vikings and the Lambs from a couple of years ago are the Vikings and the Rams, and it's a big game that they have coming up. Both these teams in second place in their respective divisions with opportunities to climb ahead. That game will be played at that beautiful new stadium in Minnesota. I do think when the rubber hits the road, I'm buying Teddy Bridgewater. I'm not selling on Nick Foles. I just think he's a game manager. And I think that the Vikings, you got Adrian Peterson in the background to supplement a rapidly growing and developing Teddy Bridgewater. I think the sky's the limit for the Vikings. So I like Minnesota in this game.
Wow, great game. Tight. It's going to be a competitive game. You got Todd Gurley against Adrian Peterson. Todd Gurley is
that's grown man football.
Man, so
they're
looking at him like the baby Peterson. So, man, Bridgewater. I think, man, I'm gonna go with St. Louis.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with St. Louis in this game. Even though I think Minnesota has the momentum, I'm gonna go with St. Louis just because of their defense and Jeff Fisher.
Coach?
Oh wow! I don't think that the Rams will be able to stop the run. And anytime, as we've talked about on this show, anytime you can run the football, you have a chance to win. And I think the Vikings' running game is a little more advanced than the Rams' running game is at this point. So I'm going to give the edge to the Vikings.
Jason Holliday.
I'm going with the Vikings.
Going with the Minnesota Vikings. So we got 3 for the Vikes, 1 for the Rams.